So letting the body settle into what we call a yogi's choice. So whatever shape will allow you to tune into the practice, settle into the body and the breath. So you can take the legs up the wall, up the chair, up the couch. You could lie over pillows, blankets, bolsters. You could lie just on the back or on the side. You could sit in meditation. And we talked last week about the balancing of breath. So you might just start to find a balanced breath in and out. So I a lot of times will start with like a 3 or a 4 count just to bring the body and the mind onto the same plane. So you could inhale for 3, exhale for 3, inhale 4, exhale 4, and just start to slow things down. And so, as I said, these last few weeks have kind of had bursts of energy with them. A couple of weeks ago, we had the new moon, and last week we were moving into the equinox, and now this week we have the full moon. And, these bursts of energy, can be a little bit much, right? Like we'll get that burst and then we kind of drop down, like you strike a match, right? You strike a match and it lights up and then it goes out. Right. So it's like in yoga, one of the things we're more interested in is sustainability. So, sometimes we have to run the sprint, right? Sometimes we do have to do something in a short period of time. So we're starting in yogi's choice. Al, if you want to take the legs up or lie back. And so just really thinking about that, like there are times, there's always an exception. There's always times in our lives where we do have to do something for a short burst. But generally speaking, we try to cultivate a sustainability. And in yoga, one of the sort of systems that we look at to, as to why we suffer and why we struggle, and most of you are probably familiar with this by now, we talk about the gunas. And the gunas are the qualities of nature, and there are 3. There's rajas, tapas, and sattva. And so rajas is the fire, it's the heat. Tamas is cold, heavy, it's like stone. And then sattva is, sort of just right. I kind of call it like the Goldilocks effect, right? Like it's just right. And we all in our nature, so I tend to be a more rajasic person. I just tend to be more fiery, where some people are more earthy or more watery. So it's not like sattva is right in the middle of rajasic and tamasic, depending on who you are, depending on the lifestyle you're in, it's going to vary. But the idea is that we don't want to be sort of subject to the imbalance of nature. And so like a good example is like, you're up really late and you don't sleep. So then you get up in the morning, you have a bunch of coffee, right? And so then the coffee brings you up, but then you crash and you can barely keep your eyes open. So then you have some candy or an energy drink, and then you come up and then you crash. So it's that really extreme polarity. And like, if we look at the season, so again, these are the qualities of nature. So summer and winter, right? So like theoretically, summer would be like a rajasic and winter would be tamasic. So fall and spring are sort of that seeking of sattva. We're trying to balance out the light, the dark, the heat, and the cold. So we're not just going from one extreme to another. But of course, it doesn't always work that way, right? And especially like in Southern California, we have days in winter that are 80 degrees, right? Like it is varying. It's not like a perfect science. It's a practice, right? And yoga is a practice. And so today we are officially in spring. We are halfway through the lunar cycle. We're coming into the first full moon of the spring. And so this is a really good time to look at that, to look at where you are caught up maybe in a rajasic tamasic cycle. And food is a great thing to examine. So again, like the way we get attached to caffeine or carbs or sugar, alcohol, or things like that. And then also just in our day-to-day, do we have so I know, especially since we've been in a year of pandemic, there are some days I don't really have anything to do till 11 o'clock in the morning. And so then it's like I find myself not getting up till later, and then we're staying up later and later, and we had daylight savings, and so again, it's so easy to get in one of these rajasic tamasic cycles. And so today we just want to create some space for sattva. We just want to create some space for balance and steadiness, and just that space to pause and check in. And so we did start to kind of play with that last week, talking about the equinox. And we're kind of staying with that theme into this full moon, because the full moon on Sunday is the harmony full moon. It is the full moon that is symbolized by the scales. So we are really weighing out what is sustainable, what is not sustainable. And so just let your practice today be that opportunity to seek a sattvic state. And we seek sattva in the body as well as the mind. We seek sattva within our relationships, within our work. So coming into the breath, and at the opening of the practice, I suggested maybe just feeling into a balanced breath. So inhaling and exhaling for 3 or 4, and just starting to feel into that. So sometimes that's kind of my baseline. Like if I'm just kind of like, I'm not sure how I feel, I'm a little bit tired or a little bit cranky, you know, I'll just start to balance the breath. So we balance what's coming in and what's moving out. And that's both fall and spring. That's the equinox. And again, sattva, though, is not always exact. It's not like half rajas, half tamas. Sometimes we are going to be more fiery. Other times we're going to be a little bit more earth-like, more stone-like. And so as you feel into the balance of breath, just think about your body. If we had to define your body right now, your body and your mind as a quality of nature, where would you place yourself? Would you feel more like the stone or more like the flame? Or maybe somewhere in between. And if you're somewhere in between, just feeling into that. Like if a 1 were super tamasic and 10 were very rajasic, right? So like 1 is like, don't want to get out of bed. And 10 is like, you're like ready to run a marathon, you know, like where would you be? And then where do you want to be? You know, so if you're like, okay, I'm probably more like a 4, but I'd really like to be a 6. I'd like to have a little energy to get this house project done or whatever. And let's just play with that during the practice. Let's just see if we can sort of slowly move towards that sustainable sattvic place, which is where we want to start this first week of spring, where we want to begin to greet the full moon. And so honor yourself for taking time to practice, to pause, to check in, to connect to the sattvic nature that is just as much a part of us as rajasic and tamasic. It just can be a little bit more, you know, sometimes we have to put a little more attention to it. And so maybe just allowing yourself again, that count of breath, or maybe that scale, having counted along that rajasic tamasic scale. And then just keep that in mind through the practice. Take another big breath in, hold a little bit at the top, and then open mouth, exhale everything out. And now start to move the body, wiggle, shift in any way that feels good. So pay attention to your fingers, your toes. You can rub your fingers together, rub your palms. So just bringing in a little bit of conscious heat, or again, maybe staying nice and slow as you roll to one side. And when you're ready, we'll shift the body up to a comfortable, sustainable seat. So for some of us, that might be sitting in a chair or on the bed. For others, we're going to sit on the earth, maybe sitting on a bolster or blanket or pillow. So a sustainable seat is one where the sit bones are rooted and the spine is lifted and you feel comfortable between the front and the back body. We're not dropping into back body or slumping into front body. So even within our poses, there's sort of a sattvic space, right? And always that, like, the first time I was hearing about the qualities of nature, the gunas, I thought of the Goldilocks story, right? Like, oh, this one's too hot and this one's too cold and this one's just right and this is too hard and this is too soft. And so every day we're sort of seeking, not that I'm suggesting like going into someone's house and like, you know, going through their porridge and their beds, but within our own lives, right? And so sitting up nice and tall, finding that sattvic seat that feels sustainable for these next few moments. Shrug your shoulders, go ahead and roll your shoulders a few times. Again, just noticing the areas we feel tense, tight. And again, maybe you have that number in mind that you want to sort of cultivate in this practice. Reverse the direction. Feeling the effects of your weekend, that first spring weekend. Inhale, squeeze the shoulders to the ears. Exhale, release. Inhale, squeeze. Exhale, release. One more time, squeeze and release. Inhale, bring your hands to your heart and just bow into where you are. So wherever you are along that scale of nature, you know, it's good. We are where we are, and just honoring those elements, right? Honoring that. And also at the same time, that openness to practice, that openness to kind of bring ourselves into a more sattvic state. As we move into the week, as we move into the season, as we move towards this first official full moon of the spring. And if you'd like to, we'll tone the sound of Om to invoke the practice, or just listen or hum. Take a deep breath in. Om. Release your hands to your knees and just start to drop the ears from side to side. So as you exhale, let one ear come to one shoulder. Inhale the chin to parallel. So just rocking the head gently side to side. Roll the shoulders down the back. So we're going to kind of work through the whole body today. Find that sort of sattvic just right through the body. That harmony and balance, equinox and full moon. And the next time you have the ear towards the right shoulder, just hold. So right ear to right shoulder. And just notice here. So this might be enough of a stretch, especially if you sit up nice and tall, relax your jaw. This might be enough. Or you can reach your fingertips down into the mat, press them down. If you want more, right hand can sort of settle like a paperweight towards the left temple, or the left arm can reach up and out. Or again, you might just keep your fingertips on the earth. Let the ribs and the belly draw in slightly, and just find a place you can breathe. So the breath is always our indication, right? So like if you can have a nice, slow, steady breath, you're probably in a more sattvic space. The breath is steady, it's smooth. Take another inhale. And then again, if you're using any other ways to stretch, release the hands down, pause. And then draw the head up. So again, chin is parallel. Pause for a moment. Just shake your head a little bit right and left. And then slowly left ear down, left shoulder. So roll your shoulders down. Make sure you're sitting up nice and tall. And the hands can just continue to rest in your lap, on your thighs, or push fingertips down to mat. Or that left hand comes up and rests on the right side of the head. Soften the jaw, soften the face. And one side might be different. You know, what's sattvic on the right side may not be on the left. So always just being mindful of that too. Take another big breath in. And if you've placed your hands in any other way, just release them. And then bring the head back to center. Shake it a little bit right and left. Inhale. And then exhale, let the chin drop to the chest. Soften the shoulders, draw the belly in. Keeping the chin to chest, take your hands to your shins and then arch back into a cat, round the spine. And then from here, you can just draw little half moons with your chin across your chest, right to left. Belly in. And relax the head round into that cat, so stretch the back body. And then inhale, neutral spine, and just walk your hands forward. So whatever position you're in, if you can comfortably walk your hands forward and just feel into the hips, feel into the low back. So again, keeping all that, so we just, you know, all that we just brought into the neck and the head, can you sort of relax that as you breathe into low back, into hips? You can rock a little bit, breathe, maybe rolling down. And just take another big breath in. And then exhale, inhale, roll yourself up, hands come behind you, and just soft elbows, open the chest, chin can tuck or open your throat, stretching the spine the other way. Inhale. Exhale, release. So if you were sitting cross-legged, adjust the cross of the legs, or just make sure your seat is still sattvic. So if there's anything you need to do to make sure your sit bones are down, spine is lifted. And then again, hands to the thighs or the shins. Let's start to circle. So as you inhale, pull the chest forward, open the throat, exhale, tuck and round back. So that cat-cow movement is within the spiral. Just, I find for me, the circling is just a little bit more clarifying. It just kind of smooths everything out. So connect to your breath, soften your jaw. And notice, your eyes. So sometimes too, when we're working through the chakras, we talked about this with the sixth chakra, like, do you have a tendency to have your eyes like wide open and alert? Do you have a tendency to close your eyes? Are they just sort of half? So all of those things are indications of nature, right? So like the person who has the eyes open and looking all around, that's very rajasic, right? There's kind of that fire to that. We're trying not to miss anything. The person with eyes closed the whole time, more tuning into that more internal, slower pace. And again, just notice, just if you're looking for more energy, maybe open your eyes wider. If you're looking for a little less fire, maybe close the eyes a little more. Reverse the direction in the circles if you haven't already. And just breathe. So keep that steady breath, noticing the breath. So we don't want the breath to be labored, but we also want it to be conscious. So we don't want it labored. We don't want it shallow, slow and steady. And for most of us, that's like a 3 or 4 count breath at least. Breathing into belly, breathing into the chest. And even with your circles, one side of the circle probably felt more fluid. The other might feel a little bit tighter. My left side feels really tight today. And then bring it to center. Sit up nice and tall. Inhale. Exhale, left hand behind you, right hand to left knee, gentle twist. Soften the shoulders. You can shake out the head a little. Draw the belly in. Just take a few smooth, steady breaths. So again, we talked about that last week. I love twisting. Any open twist, closed twist, whatever's appropriate. They're just so good to sort of cultivate that clarity. If we're too hyped up, they calm us down. If we're tired, they kind of boost us up. Deep breath. Exhale. Inhale back to center. Lengthen the spine. Exhale, right hand behind, left hand to right knee. Roll the shoulders down, gentle twist. Draw the belly in, lean back. Shake out the head. Soften the jaw. Just some smooth, sattvic breaths up and down the spine. Inhale. Exhale here. Inhale, unwind. And again, can you walk your hands forward? So even if it's just a couple of inches, just feeling into back body, softening the gaze. So rather than looking up, just kind of glancing down out in front of you. And just notice if this side is tighter. And a lot of times too, if our body's craving those forward folds, we just want to kind of give in to gravity. And any yoga asana practice should have, right, like at least a little bit of, all the spinal movements and breath awareness. And that really does help us to find sattva. That's one of the reasons we have asana, we have physical yoga. Breath body yoga is so it brings us into a sattvic state of body and mind. So if you're continually practicing and either feeling like way too hyped up or way too tired out, then there might need to be a little bit of exploration and finding that balance. Take another breath. Inhale, roll it up, and now we take the hands behind us, so a mild back bend. Soft elbows, open the chest, chin can tuck or open the throat, stretching across the back body, or the front body, excuse me, opening up through the chest. Take a deep breath in. Exhale here. Inhale, reach the arms up, so lifting through the heart, lifting through the chest. Exhale, left hand over to the left, right arm up and overhead, or you can hold the skull. Keep the chest open and bright, ground through the right hip, soften the face. And then inhale, reach up, big stretch. Exhale, right hand down, stretch up and over. And you can always hold behind the skull. Feel the length in the body. Deep breath in. Exhale. Inhale, reach it up. And hands to heart. Go ahead and stretch your legs out. Give them a little shake. And then if you're able to make your way to all fours, we'll move to all fours. If not, you can stay seated. Just once again, make sure your sattvic seat is accessible. If you're moving to all fours, it can be great to pad the knees with pillows, blankets, bolsters. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Spread your fingers, and you want your index fingers to kind of roughly look like a really wide 11. Press the palms down. Just take a moment to find neutral spine here. So shoulders over wrists, hips over knees, belly towards spine, gaze just directly out in front of you. And now as you press into your hands, inhale, drop the belly, open the chest, the gaze starts to move upward. Exhale, tuck the chin, arch back. So finding that cat-cow. But just moving nice and slow, and you can do this seated too. Inhale, open the chest. Exhale, round the spine. Inhale, open. Exhale, round. Just 3 more like this. Last time, drop the belly, open the chest. Pause for a moment, soften the elbows. So just take a moment here to feel into this pose, and this is a heart opener. Belly draws in as we open the chest, soften the gaze, press down through your hands, spreading across the collarbones. Take a deep breath. Exhale, now tuck the chin, arch back, hold. Round the spine, tuck the chin, press into your hands. Take a breath, and then slide the big toes together, push back towards child's pose, lowering to the forearms or to the forehead. Take a moment here, press the tops of the feet down as you lengthen your spine. And then press your palms down. Inhale, round it up, and then melt the heart into cow. And then exhale, push back to cat, all the way back, child's pose. And then round back through cat. And at the top, drop the belly, open the chest. So we're kind of riding that cat spine forward and back from our child's pose. So just feeling that articulation nice and slow. You sometimes do this in different ways. Today we're sort of feeling into that back body stretch. And forward and back. A few more like this. And again, if you're seated, just continue to focus on nice, slow cat-cow. And then the next time you come forward, pause in neutral spine. So round it forward, but then instead of finding that big heart opener, just settle back to neutral spine. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Spread the fingers, tuck the toes, stretch your right leg back, keep the toes on the floor. So stretching through the calves. If you're sitting down, you can extend the right leg and flex the toes towards the face. So just opening the calves. You can also lower to the forearms if it's too much to be on your hands. Shake out the head. Just breathe into the calf. So the spine can stay neutral here, or there can be a quality of cat kind of pushing back into that heel. Breathe into the calf. And then pressing through your hands or through your forearms, shift forward slightly so the shoulders are over the wrists. Lift that right leg straight up. So the heel is in line with hip. Breathe here. Square the hips, soften the jaw. And then you can keep just the leg up or start to come onto the left fingertips or reach the left arm up. Hold the balance. Pull the belly in. So again, notice if you start to lose that form, if the right hand starts to lift, if your hips are shifting, where is your gaze? So again, sattva is not always easy to find in balance poses. We notice our tendencies. Take another big breath, find that length. And then exhale the left hand down, place the right knee down, push back into that cat all the way to child's pose. And then pull up through cat, round forward, melt the heart, come back to neutral spine. So we're coming to second side, so you can always lower to your forearms. And then tuck the toes, push that left leg back. So stretching through the heel, stretching through the calf. Soft gaze. Finding your connection to the calf here. Again, if you're just seated, you can really flex that left foot and we start to fold forward towards it. So just bringing some energy into the calf. Back of the left leg. Relax your face. And then look forward, so find that neutral spine and just lift left leg up. Heel in line with hips, square everything off. Maybe the right arm ascends. So right hand doesn't come any higher than the shoulder. Notice what happens with the left leg. Give yourself a few breaths here to find the balance. Draw belly in, soften the jaw. Take another breath. Exhale, right hand down, left knee down, this time coming into puppy dog. So stick your sit bones up towards the ceiling and now walk your hands forward. So draw the shoulders on the back, pull the belly in as you place your forehead down. And you can always lower your forearms or lift up through the elbows. So this stretch is for the upper spine, for the shoulders. Stretching out the upper body after doing the calf stretches. Take another breath. And then start to walk yourself up. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips, toes tucked. Now you can push back into child's pose, or we're going to lift into down dog, but we're going to take our time. So for down dog, make sure your hands are at least shoulder distance. I'll even take my hands wider than that for my first one. Spreading my fingers, pressing down through my index finger and thumb. Tuck your toes, draw the belly, and start to lift your knees, and then push back, keeping the knees bent. The feet are at least hip width distance apart. So the knees are bent, your hips are, so think about what we were just doing in puppy dog. Press your hands down, hug your forearms towards each other. And think about pressing your chest towards your thighs. Now you can start to extend the legs, but you don't have to. And you can even bend one knee at a time, getting into the calves a little bit more deeply. So the head is neutral, the ears are sort of hanging between the upper arms. So we're not doing too much with the head here. The head is loose. You should be able to shake it side to side. And again, you can be in child's pose, We're going to take a couple more breaths. So if down dog can be done appropriately, it's a great sattvic pose. But if it creates discomfort, then it's not going to be sattvic for you. It's either going to fire you up or it's going to tire you out. Take another big breath in wherever you are. Exhale, roll your hands to your feet. So everybody roll towards your feet for ragdoll. So if you were to make fists with both hands and place them between your feet, that's hip width distance. You want to have at least that distance, if not a little wider. The toes facing forward. Soften your knees, shake out your head here. So releasing upper body, lower body. Your hands can rest on blocks or bolsters or pillows. And just let go. You can rock side to side. And then bend your knees and slow as you can, roll it up. So slow, slow, slow. And as you get to the top, again, roll your shoulders one way and the other. Inhale, draw the shoulders to the ears. Exhale, drop. Reach through fingertips, right ear to right shoulder. Lift the head and left ear to left shoulder. Roll the chin to the chest. Soft knees. Inhale, reach the arms up, lift the gaze. Right hand to left wrist, pull up and over into the side bend. Keep the ears in line with the arms, draw the belly in. Inhale, bring it up, switch the clasp. Soften the elbows, reach up and over. Inhale up. Exhale, hands to heart. And just check in for a moment with the breath. With the body, again, maybe that number, right? Like 1 being super tamasic, 10 being rajasic, right? Where you are now compared to beginning, where you want to be, and just notice, no right or wrong. Deep breath in. Sigh it out. And we're going to shift the body to a wide stance. So if you need to turn on your mat, and not super wide. So we're going to come into temple. So just, definitely wider than the shoulders, but it doesn't have to be your widest stance. Turning your feet out. And a good way to know what's wide enough is that when you bend your knees, you don't want your knees to come past your toes, okay? So pressing down through the feet, toes pointing out. Inhale, reach the arms up to the sky. Exhale, bend the knees, circle your arms. So we're just going to flow. Inhale up. Our temple sunflowers here. It's first week of spring, so spring flowers. I guess sunflowers are starting to come up some places, but those are usually a little bit later in the summer. Just moving slow and steady, so upper and lower body. As you sit back, make sure you're sitting straight back, belly drawing in. Knees don't come past the toes. And if this is too much on your upper body, you can always just take your hands to your heart and focus on the legs, keeping your chest open. And so I do love how temple, again, opens and strengthens the legs, the hips together, right? So of course we work with asymmetry, and that's important too. But when we're talking about sattva, it's nice when we have these flows that we're really staying aware of the whole body. Just breathing. Notice your feet. So pressing through the 4 corners of the feet, drawing the belly in. Soften the shoulders and the face. Few more, you might start to feel some heat. We want that appropriate heat, right? Not getting overheated, but feeling the muscles warm up, the blood start flowing through. Few more. Inhale, reach up, stretch everything. Exhale, hands to heart, bend your knees, hold. So sitting back into your hips, pressing into the feet, lifting your chest. Just take a breath here. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, stretch everything up, reach up. Exhale, bring the right arm under left and either hold your shoulders, which this is the more mild variation, or bring the back of the hands or the palms together for eagle arms. So we're gonna get into shoulders, so upper and lower body. So whatever variation you have, take a breath. And now exhale, sink into your temple. Make sure, again, the knees are drawing open, weight is in the feet, and whatever shoulder variation you're in, draw the shoulders down, soften the jaw, breathe. Flowing through the breath as we open the upper body, open the lower body, drawing belly in, take another inhale. Again, just make sure which arm is on top and bottom. I did call right under, but just make sure. And then exhale, release, inhale, stretch everything up. And then that left arm comes under right, either holding the shoulders or maybe playing with an eagle variation. And once you have the upper body connected, exhale, sink down into your temple. So lining up the elbows, opening the chest, pressing through your feet, draw your belly in. Open your heart. So finding that balance through upper and lower body. We're strengthening lower body. We're stretching upper body. Take another breath. Exhale. Inhale, unwind, reach it up. Exhale, hands to your hips. Turn your feet forward, soften the knees. Now the hands can stay at the hips or clasp the hands, even just resting your knuckles at the sacrum. Soften the elbows, open your heart. Keep that as you start to fold forward. And you can keep the knuckles at the sacrum or start to stretch your arms up and overhead. Shake out your head, so make sure that we can relax the head. Weight is even through the feet. Maybe lift your toes to feel the four corners of the feet. Soft knees. Draw the belly in. Again, upper and lower body stretching here. Take a deep breath. Exhale, release the arms down, hands to the floor or to blocks. Just feel the flow down through your fingers, out through your toes. Shake out your head. And then walk your hands forward so you're lifting your heart. And then place the right hand under your face on a blanket, bolster, or the mat. Take the left hand to the low back and roll your chest open for another open twist. So soften the knees, press your hips back. So we want to twist, not turn. Long spine. Deep breath. And then exhale, release. Switching sides, lengthen up, left hand under the face, right hand to low back. Make sure your knees are soft, your hips are back. Roll your chest open. So really gentle, open twist. Gentle clarification of the first week of spring. Inviting that full moon in a little bit closer. Take another breath. And then release, let it go. And then slowly heel toe the feet in a little bit closer. Soften your knees. And again, roll your body all the way up. And then just shake it out. Start with your hands and your feet. Just do some gentle shaking. You can even make your hands into light fists and do some patting. So it's just been so important. There's been so much more research around like the body's trauma response to how important it is to shake out and pat out the body. Respond to that. Give yourself a good shake or pat. And then bring it to center. Feet are back hip width distance. And shrug the shoulders one way and the other. Inhale, squeeze the shoulders up. Exhale, roll them back. Right ear to right shoulder. And then bring the head up. Left ear to left shoulder. And then chin to chest. Soft knees. Inhale, reach the arms up, look up. Right hand to left wrist. Pull up and over, squeeze the legs. Inhale up, switch the clasp. Inhale up. This time exhale, swan dive forward, dive down. Soften the knees, inhale up halfway, hands to shins or thighs, lengthen. Exhale, bow. Inhale, sweep it all the way up, lift up. Exhale, bring the hands behind you. So your fingers are reaching down your sacrum, your low back. Soften your knees, draw the elbows in, draw the chin towards the chest, and just curl up into a standing back bend. So soften the knees, press your hands into the sacrum or even into the top part of your glutes. Draw the elbows in, chin can stay tucked or open the throat. Standing heart opener. Hug the elbows in, soften the knees, take a deep breath. Exhale, release. Give a little shake. Plant the left foot coming into tree pose. Rotate the right hip. You can always use a closet or door or chair for the right hand. Place the right foot to the inside of the left ankle, calf, or draw it to the thigh. So got to check in with that spring trees, one of my favorite seasons for trees, everything blossoming. Hands to hips, heart, or reach up towards the waxing moon. So again, balance poses, right? So when we hold them, they let us know. They let us know kind of where those elements are at. So feeling into your tree. Come back to the breath. Trying to steady yourself. Inhale. And exhale, carefully release. Maybe give yourself another little shake or pat. And then coming to the other side, plant the right foot, rotate the left hip, place the foot to the ankle, the calf, the thigh, hands to the hips, heart, or reach up. Notice how you're pressing the foot into the leg. Standing tall, belly draws in. Breath flowing through in a sattvic way. Breathing in the front and back body. Take one more big breath. And then slowly let it go. Give it a nice little shake. And then placing your feet one more time, hip to shoulder distance apart. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Soft knees, you can step to all fours or step one more time to that stable downward dog, knees soft, hips high. You can also do cat-cow from all fours. Take a deep breath in. And then we're going to shift over onto the belly. So if you're in down dog, you can lower the knees and then start to lower your hands down, lowering into sphinx. So feet are hip width distance apart, elbows under shoulders, spread your fingers, or however you can comfortably roll onto your forearms. And again, just shake your head out, press the pelvis down, spread your fingers. Breathing into the upper body. Lower body, pressing the tops of the feet down. Gaze can be up or centered or slightly low. We don't want to round through the upper spine. Big breath in. Exhale, start to lower down. And then you can lower your forehead, push into your hands, and roll onto your back. I mean, if you would prefer to push up and then lie on your back the other way, then you can do that too, or just go ahead and roll onto your back. And as you roll onto your back, let's have the knees bent and the feet on the mat, feet hip width distance. So from that back bend that's more focused in the upper spine, we'll open the lower one through bridge. So knees over ankles, arms down by sides, press through your feet, roll your hips up into bridge. You can work your shoulders underneath you, chin away from the chest. Lifting your hips. So again, we're in another heart opener, but just different part of the body than Sphinx. Just opening all parts of the body. Press through your feet, press through your hands. Make sure the knees aren't splaying open. A little squeeze of the glutes. Take a deep breath. Exhale, roll it down. Heel toe your feet mat distance. Bring your arms up into goalposts or overhead. Just a little windshield wiper roll. So as you roll the knees right and left, nice and wide, let your head shift side to side too. You can always bring pillows or bolsters off to the right and left of your mat so that the thighs can kind of rock into the support. Massaging tailbone, low back. Again, you're letting the head gently roll side to side, releasing the cervical spine as well as the lumbar spine. One more to each side. Draw the knees to center. Again, bring them back to about hip width distance apart. Draw the right knee into the chest. Pull the knee in towards the chest. Breathe here, or extend the right leg up, pressing through the heel. So flexing the foot, you can hold behind the thigh or the calf. Roll the shoulders and the tailbone down. Breathe into the leg. Press through your heel. So again, notice the upper spine. We want that sattvic upper spine. So back of the head pressing down, shoulders down, nice long imprint. Inhale. Exhale, bend the right knee and cross the ankle over the thigh. So coming into our sleeping pigeon. And you can start to scooch the left heel in. If you have a block handy, you can put that under the left foot. And you can kind of rock that right leg again. So kind of like the windshield wiper we were just doing, but with the right ankle over the left thigh. Or you can hug the left knee in for the hip opener. But just make sure that we're pressing straight out through the right foot. And that right knee is opening. And so whether you're kind of rolling around here, pushing the left foot into the block. If you're holding the left leg, again, try to really roll your shoulders and your head down. And find the balance of breath. Big breath. Exhale, release the left foot. Draw the right knee in, slide it off, and again, walk the feet out, just little windshield wiper with both sides. Just releasing. One more to each side. And the knees back to center. You can walk them in a little bit so you can comfortably bring the left knee in. Give the left knee a rock, and you can keep the left knee bent or stretch that left foot up. Make sure the shoulders and the tailbone stay rooted. Press through the heel, through the leg. Again, upper body, sattvic, relax. Take a big breath. If the leg is extended, bend the knee, cross left ankle over right thigh. And again, you can just guide that left thigh open and start to rock the leg a little bit here, or push the right foot into a block or pillow, or hug the right knee in, making sure to roll the shoulders down. And just take a few more breaths. Back of the head softened. You should be able to roll the head a little bit right and left. You can count those breaths. Equal breath in and out. Take a breath in. And sigh it out. Place the right foot down, hug the left knee in. And then bring both your knees in, give them a little rock. Little massage, you can roll side to side. And then when you're ready, you could just hug in and then extend out for Shavasana. Or if you want to roll to one side and get any props, take the legs up the wall or lie back. So just about, 5 minutes, 5 or 6 minutes here to just receive the practice. And you're always encouraged to grab props and things, cover the eyes. If you'd like to take a longer Shavasana than 5 or 6 minutes, you can always just, leave the class so you have that time. But otherwise, we just want to have a few minutes to settle, to breathe, to receive. Because again, the last 3 weeks, there have been these bursts, new moon and equinox and full moon. And so we, again, like that striking of a match. And again, it's like we get this burst and then we feel tired. And so this is a cycle where we're seeking sattva. We are trying to recalibrate and restore and restructure. And for a lot of us, as things shift around, as things are opening up or adjusting, as people are getting vaccinated and so on and so forth, there is this push, right? But we have to find it for ourselves. We have to find what's sustainable for ourselves, because sattva is really personal, and so maybe as you settle back here, you can feel into that scale, noticing where you've been, where you are, and otherwise just, let the breath guide you into rest. So a lot of times people think that like Shavasana or meditation or restorative are tamasic, but they're not. They're actually quite sattvic because they actually help us to come into balance. So it is that, a lot of us have these ideas of like, oh, if I'm not sweating and working out, then I'm being lazy, right? But again, that's not true. Sometimes we do want to sweat and breathe, and other times we need to lie down. And so again, it's allowing ourselves to identify what is appropriate, what is just right now. And so as always, honor yourself for taking time to practice. I love starting the week with you, sort of setting the space for hopefully a sattvic first week of spring, first full moon of spring. But for now, just receiving your practice, letting everything else go. And just feel the body on the earth, sky above. And just again, noticing the places where you feel balanced and connected, and maybe the places where there's some tension or tightness. And this again is just now the first week of spring, and it's been a long winter. And so just being really gentle with the cultivation of sattva, just a little bit every day, just kind of feeling into where you are and where you want to be, and the small steps to get there, which again for me is breath, a balance of the yoga practice, not too much heat, but also making sure to move and breathe and bring consciousness. Time in nature, so as the moon gets bigger and bigger, she's up early, so spending time out with the moon this week, drinking in the soma, the life force available from the sun and the moon. Mostly just being gentle with yourself and others as we continue to recalibrate. Take a deep breath in and then sigh it out. And so you can start to bring in movement and stretching and wiggling, or you might just curl to one side. There's no right or wrong or good or bad. Again, rajas and tamas are not good or bad or right or wrong. They're the qualities of nature. And when you're ready, you might bring yourself to sit. Place your hands on your body or at the heart, any way that feels balanced, feels comfortable, appropriate. Such a good word, right? And it does require some redefining in every situation, but that's what yoga is. There's always sort of an appropriateness to the practice that we're seeking. And I thank you for seeking sattva this morning. And if you'd like to close with an om, or just hum along, or just listen, take a deep breath in. Thank you for practicing. I bow to you. Happy first full moon week of spring. I hope to see you soon. Thank you. Thanks.